Chicago. What do you think of when you hear the city? The cold and icy winters, Michael Jordan's undeniable legacy, the Gothic and Art Deco style architecture, or is it the food? And in this city, no food is more beloved or more debated than pizza. It's a tradition woven into the fabric of the city as much as the L train and the lakefront. But how did Chicago pizza become what it is today? It started in the 1940s, when Italian immigrants brought their recipes and traditions to the city. But then, the style evolved and something different emerged. To understand Chicago pizza, you have to go back to the man who started it all, Rudy Malnati Sr., who was more than just a chef, he was a pizza pioneer. For years, Rudy worked tirelessly at Pizzeria Uno, perfecting the recipe and shaping the deep dish tradition. He elevated pizza from a simple snack to a delicious meal. And in 1991, his son, Rudy Malnati Jr., carried on that legacy by opening Pizano's Pizza. With a recipe rooted in tradition but crafted for a new generation, Pizano's became more than just a restaurant. It became a Chicago staple.
My name is Holly Malnati, and I am the Director of Communications at Pizano's Pizza and Pasta, but I am also the daughter of Rudy Malnati Jr., who opened up the restaurant in the early 90s. Pizza has definitely been a family affair. Pizano's has been a part of my life since I was born. My dad, like I said, opened up the first restaurant in the 90s, and I have spent my entire life around the restaurants. I mean, my dad and I would pop over and he would do some paperwork, and I would be the random 6-year-old sitting at the bar eating an order of cheese sticks and a kitty cocktail. After college, I became more involved with the business and took on an actual leadership role with handling all of the communications and marketing.
Thank you, Pizano's in Maddyson. This is Jefferson. May I help you?
My grandpa, Rudy Malnati Sr., was one of the key players of bringing deep dish to Chicago. He was involved with Pizzeria Uno back in the early 40s, so pizza kind of came to be this Chicago deep dish phenomenon in about 1943, so that was where it all began. And then similarly to me, my dad grew up around the restaurants, as well as his brother Lou, who is also known in the pizza industry in Chicago. Lou Malnati kind of took to the industry a little bit earlier, opening up Lou Malnati's in the 70s, and then my dad following shortly after in the 90s. So there is a lot of theories and stories revolving the origin of deep dish. It's hard with the timeline being back in the 40s, there's not as much documentation as there is obviously now. But that being said, Rudy Malnati Sr. was involved at the original Pizzeria Uno, and basically Rick Ricardo and Ike Sewell were playing around with some ideas of what they wanted their restaurant to look like and needed some Italian influence, and that's kind of where my grandpa came into play. And they played around with some things, eventually developing the original deep dish that you're familiar with today. So Donna is my grandma, Rudy's mother, and she has had a huge impact on the industry, especially with Pizano specifically. So back in the early 90s, when my dad was looking to kind of open up his own pizza restaurant, he worked with Donna, his mother, to kind of, play around with some recipes, work alongside each other to have my dad be more of the face of the business and also allow Donna to be more of an influence in the kitchen. So you could commonly find Donna downstairs in our State Street location actually handling the massive mixers and making all the dough for our restaurant. So she did that all the way up until 2019 when she passed away. But yeah, she kind of was a powerhouse in the kitchen. She handled all of the dough. She made our house-made Italian dressing. Anything that she could kind of get her hands on in the kitchen, that was where she fell into place.
Pizano's pizza not only lingers in the hearts and minds of those who taste it, but each slice is filled with history and legacy. The crust is something special. Whether you go for the famous deep dish or the delicate thin crust, every bite starts with that signature, buttery, golden brown dough. It's crisp on the outside, yet light and flaky, almost melting in your mouth. Then comes the cheese, a gooey, indulgent layer of fresh mozzarella that stretches with every bite, perfectly balanced between creamy and salty. It blends seamlessly into the sauce, creating a harmony of flavors. And the sauce, it's what sets Pizano's apart. Bright, tangy, and made from vine-ripe tomatoes. It's ladled on top in the deep dish and creating the signature sweet yet savory bite.
The one thing that my dad was so adamant about was upholding the integrity of the pizza and keeping it as similar to the original recipe as possible. So we're one of the only pizza restaurants in Chicago derived from that original recipe you would have seen in the 40s. Everything down to the sauce, the cheese, our sausage from Anachini, it's all the original recipe and our original recipe. So I think that's what sets us apart, is that we're really striving to make sure that it's as authentic as an experience as it can be. It's definitely undeniable that Chicago has a very rich food culture, specifically Italian. I would say whether you're looking for deep dish pizza to Chicago tavern style thin crust, or even classic Italian family dishes, I think Chicago's very rich in Italian history, which is amazing. But more specifically, I mean, the culture itself is very family specific, but growing up, it was my entire life, and it was amazing to see my dad kind of have his influences. And I think that that's the coolest part, is you become part of people's family routines, people's traditions, that sort of thing.
My name is Charlie. I am a server at Pizano's. I've worked here since July of last year.
Name is Jose, last name Diego. I've been working here for I want to say like 12, 13 years now.
What is your favorite memory regarding Pizano's?
I don't know. I get so many new ones like every day. Mostly just kind of like talking with my coworkers because we're always making each other laugh.
Coming here to work, working with these guys. These guys been here, 13 plus years too. They've been here longer than me, so it's like it's a family, So.
With a customer, sometimes there will be like families that come in from out of the state or out of country or something, and anytime I get to like make their travel a little bit better, like put a smile on their face, as corny as it is.
We've become so ingrained in people's family traditions, meals, holidays, that sort of thing, and I think that's really what it comes down to, is the ability to participate in people's coming together. You get to see people celebrate and come together to share a meal.
Of all the famous pizza spots in the city of Chicago, this gem on Maddyson captures the heart of many Chicago pizza lovers. Whether it's the classic pepperoni with crispy edges, homemade Italian sausage, or fresh veggies that add a slight crunch, every ingredient feels carefully chosen and full of flavor. The result? A perfect balance of textures and tastes. Crispy yet soft, rich yet fresh, decadent yet comforting. Whether it's your first bite or your 10th, Pizano's pizza isn't just a meal, it's an experience, a love letter to Chicago, and a slice of tradition that keeps you coming back for more.